One of the devastating works of nature can be found in earthquakes. It can lead to the loss of property and lives. Hello and welcome to UPSC Geography View. Today, let's learn about the effects of earthquakes. Earthquakes have varied effects including changes in geological features, damage to man-made structures, and impact on human and animal life. Most of the effects of the earthquakes occur on solid ground, but since most earthquake focuses are actually located under the ocean bottom, severe effects are often observed along the margins of oceans. Let's learn about the surface phenomenon. Earthquakes often cause dramatic geomorphological changes, including ground movements, either vertical or horizontal, along geologic fault traces, rising, dropping, and tilting of the ground surface, changes in the flow of groundwater, liquefaction of sandy ground, landslides, and mud flows. The investigation of topographic changes is aided by geodetic measurements, which are made systematically in a number of countries seriously affected by earthquakes. Earthquakes can do significant damage to buildings, bridges, pipelines, railways, embankments, and other structures. The type and extent of damage inflicted are related to the strength of the ground motions and to the behavior of the foundation soils. In the most intensely damaged region, called the mesoseismal area, the effects of a severe earthquake are usually complicated and depend on the topography and the nature of the surface materials. They are often more severe on soft alluvium and unconsolidated sediments than on hard rock. At distances of more than 100 kilometers from the source, the main damage is caused by seismic waves traveling along the surface. In mines, there is frequently little damage below depths of a few hundred meters, even though the ground surface immediately above is considerably affected. Earthquakes are frequently associated with reports of distinctive sounds and lights. The sounds are generally low-pitched and have been likened to the noise of an underground train passing through a station. The occurrence of such sounds is consistent with the passage of high-frequency seismic waves through the ground. Occasionally, luminous flashes, streamers, and bright balls have been reported in the night sky during earthquakes. These lights have been attributed to electronic induction in the air along the earthquake source. Let's learn about tsunamis in the context of earthquakes. Following certain earthquakes, very long wavelength water waves in oceans or seas sweep inshore. More properly called seismic sea waves or tsunamis are commonly referred to as tidal waves, although the attractions of the moon and sun play no role in their formation. Tsunami is a Japanese word for harbor wave. Tsunamis sometimes come ashore to great heights, tens of meters above mean tide level, and may be extremely destructive. The usual immediate cause of a tsunami is sudden displacement in a seabed sufficient to cause the sudden raising or lowering of a large body of water. This deformation may be the fault source of an earthquake, or it may be a submarine landslide arising from an earthquake. Large volcanic eruptions along shorelines, such as those of Thera in 1580 BCE and Krakatoa in 1883 CE, have also produced notable tsunamis. The most destructive tsunami ever recorded occurred on December 26, 2004 after an earthquake displaced the seabed off the coast of Sumatra in Indonesia. More than 200,000 people were killed by a series of waves that flooded coasts from Indonesia to Sri Lanka and even washed ashore on the Horn of Africa. Following the initial disturbance to the sea surface, water waves spread in all directions. Their speed of travel in deep water is given by the formula square root of gh, where h is the sea depth and g is the acceleration of gravity. This speed may be considerable 100 meters per second, when h is 1000 meters. However, the amplitude, that is the height of disturbance at the water surface, does not exceed a few meters in deep water, and the principal wavelength may be on the order of hundreds of kilometers. Correspondingly, the principal wave period, that is, the time interval between arrival of successive crests, may be on the order of tens of minutes. Because of these features, tsunami waves are not noticed by ships far out at sea. When tsunamis approach shallow water, however, the wave amplitude increases. The waves may occasionally reach a height of 20 to 30 meters above mean sea level in U-shaped and V-shaped harbors and inlets. They characteristically do a great deal of damage in low-lying grounds around such inlets. Frequently, the wave front in the inlet is nearly vertical, as in a tidal bore, and the speed of onrush may be on the order of 10 meters per second. In some cases, there are several great waves separated by intervals of several minutes or more. The first of these waves is often preceded by an extraordinary recession of water from the shore, which may commence several minutes or even half an hour beforehand. Organizations, notably in Japan, Siberia, Alaska, and Hawaii, have been set up to provide tsunami warnings. A key development is the Seismic Sea Wave Warning System, an internationally supported system designed to reduce loss of life in the Pacific Ocean. Centered in Honolulu, it issues alerts based on reports of earthquakes from circum-Pacific seismographic stations. Let's learn about the sea chase in context of earthquakes. Sea chase are rhythmic motions of water in nearly landlocked bays or lakes that are sometimes induced by earthquakes and tsunamis. Oscillations of this sort may last for hours or even for a day or two. The Great Lisbon earthquake of 1755 caused the waters of canals and lakes in regions as far away as Scotland and Sweden to go into observable oscillations. Sage surges in lakes in Texas, in the southwestern United States, commenced between 30 and 40 minutes after the 1964 Alaska earthquake, produced by seismic surface waves passing through the area. A related effect is a result of seismic waves from an earthquake passing through the seawater following their refraction through the seafloor. The speed of these waves is about 1.5 kilometers or 0.9 mile per second, the speed of sound in water. If such waves meet a ship with sufficient intensity, they give the impression that the ship has struck a submerged object. This phenomenon is called a sea quake. Thank you for listening to the effects of earthquakes. For more such discussions, visit upscpractice.com and install the UPSC Practice app from the App Store.